Hey guys, Justin here. Today I'll be showing the beginners and experienced whip makers on how to make this 6-foot target whip. So I hope you guys learned something. Here we go. Alright, so we rolled our belly. Our first belly is complete. And now we're on to the second belly, which is partially plaited. And then the strands just hang just like that. So it's plaited for about 2.5 feet, and it's 275 paracord. You guys already seen the lengths already. So what we're going to do is get them all cut for the 275 and gut them. Let me see here. Is there some over here? There's some up there. Hold on. Being not prepared at all. No, just kidding. So, when you gut these ones, it's going to be a little harder. But, as you guys seen already, you need 3 15-foot strands. So, what you could do is measure 7.5 6 times, and then they're a lot easier to gut because there's 4 strands in the core this time, and it does bunch up if you get the 15-foot lengths. So what you could do is measure 7.5 feet 6 times and then melt them together, and then you have a stopper for your center. So you could do that for the other ones too as well, but I didn't do them this time. I had some scrap 275 here that I wanted to use up, and I already cut them to length and just tied them up for now. And here's what we're going to do. Just slide this through here. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 strands. All right. Let's see. Eight strands. And what we're going to do is go into a plait, and it's going to be a 16 plait. That's right. I got to get my knot off first. So you guys need to gut your strands and prepare them. Like I said, if you have scraps around and they measure out just right, this will work. So those are the centers right there. You could do this if you did what I did and didn't melt them, because it's a core. That solves that problem. Make sure you guys can see that. There you go. So that's our center mark. So what we're going to do now, put it back in the vise and start our plaiting. Alright? Alright, we're at the top of the handle here. I'm nice and zoomed in. Let's turn the music off again. So these are just random strands I had lying around. Some scraps I wanted to burn up. Which, when you make whips, you get a lot of scraps and you waste a lot too, but other than that, if I can save them and use them later on, why not? Okay, so they're all our marks are right across the top here. So you're going to go over these top 4, go around the back with the 4 that were underneath on this side. This is getting our plait set up here. And now we went over the 4, and now we need to go under the 4 again. I just pull them through. Try not to lose your centers. I try to keep it pinched the whole time. And go underneath those 4. Straighten them out. The last time I made a tutorial was sick. And I didn't feel very good the whole time I was making it, and try not to be, you know, so boring. I'm showing you guys my secrets here. Some of them, not all of them. And I just pulled the strand. Which one did I pull? That one. You can see the mark right there. I accidentally pulled it through because it snagged the vise. Let's get our block lines back to where they were. Pinch it and get all your strands through safe and sound. Okay. So you should have something like that. Now what we're going to do, see how this is pointing that way, this bottom strand? We're going to take let me scoot it down there. There we go. We're going to take this top corner one right here. It's up front. We're going to go around the back. You got 8 strands on this side. We're going to split them. We're going to go under these 4 and over these 4. I know if you beginners won't know how to do this, and the experienced whip makers will be like, "Oh, I already seen this," you know. But I gotta show them. So now this purple one is pointing to that corner. What we're gonna do now is take this one on the top side. You got 8 on this side. Take that one, go around the back, under 4, over 4. And so you can see what I'm doing here, kind of snugging them up so there's no gaps behind there. And now the same thing, points to that corner. We're going to go around the back. We're going to go under 4, over 4. Pretty simple method. This is called herringbone. Point to that corner. Under 4, over 4. Point to this corner. Under 4, over 4. And this is pretty time consuming versus 550 paracord. But the reason I do it like this, putting this 275 for the second belly, because the segments are that much smaller. What you do, there, take your hemostats and clip the one side. So, like I'm saying here, the segments are a lot smaller. So once it actually gets down to where the whip actually bends, with these small segments underneath, it gives the whip a lot more life. A better flow overall is what I found out. And as you go here, let's see, every once in a while stop and just pull those strands tight. Not too tight yet, because they could slip around and pull from the other side if you didn't melt them together. Just snugging everything down. Just keep that going. Under 4/4. Not very complex yet, but this will take a while to plait down the whole handle. Try to keep your V straight, as straight as possible. I just keep pushing up on the V, snugging it up, and continue down. You guys got the idea here, hopefully. We'll continue down the whole handle until we get to the shortest strand, which is 5 feet. Another thing, as you're plaiting down the whip, when you do 8 passes, what's going to happen is it's going to get tangled up. Now I'm talking 8 passes, so I'd be 8 from this side, 8 from that side. So it's actually 16 passes, but what happens is the strands start to twist up, and you need to stop and just do this. Pull one side through, and then pull the other side through, so they're straight. So everything's nice and clean. There's no tangles or anything, and then you can continue from there and just keep doing that over and over again. And keep an eye on the back, because if that starts doing some weird stuff, you want to be able to know. So just keep an eye on it as you go. It looks like everything's good here, and there's no overlapping or anything like that. So continue plaiting down the whip until we get to the transition area, and I'll see you there. Hey, he's getting all fresh, guys. Look at Loki. It's a fat kitty right there. He's getting all fresh. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself so far. As you guys are plaiting down the whip, like I said, continue to check, make sure it looks good on that side. Everything's tight. There's nothing too real big of gaps. You know, you don't want giant gaps. Now, I'm like halfway down the handle. It takes a while. When I pull these strands, I'm pulling them tight. Okay. So I just do this, and then pull. And then same thing. So as I make a pass here, I'll show you. I go around the back. There's a lot more going on than just going around and going over the top. So what I do is push up here, and then I also push back here where we can't see, where it's getting tucked in, to make sure those are close. And then your next strand, go around the back, trying to do this slow, And then push the back up and the front. Just a little trick as you go, so it doesn't, so everything stays nice and tight. But anyways, just continue down. So we made it to the bottom of the handle where the transition is. We're going to measure it, make sure that's 14 right there. And it is. So let me zoom in for you. You're going to notice as we have some short strands going on here. That. And there's another purple one right there. So what we're going to do, since that one's fairly short, we're going to do another pass. Keep pulling tight. Even though we're going off the handle pretty quick, we're still doing under 4 over 4. So keep pulling tight. We don't really loosen up until we're about 3 inches past the transition. That's when we'll start not pulling so tight. So keep going, pulling the strands tight. And let's see here. We got this. Under 4 over 4. Okay, we made it to those 2 short ones. There's going to be 1 on each side. So this is the last pass for this one. This one that's about 2 inches long, 3 inches long. So, I'm going to continue on doing under 4 over 4 until it's at the top again. Until it's up here. Alright, you can see that strand right there. It's at the top. And I'm going to show you this mess here. Take the core, pull it out, and here's what happens when you don't take your strands and... But it's not really that bad, so... Pull them out, separate that one to that side and this one to that side. Just so they're not a big tangled mess. So, our 1 strand's right there. Pull it tight. Make sure your whip is secure in the vise good. So that one's pulled tight. And now we're to switch. Since that one's too short to go around again, we are going to do this. This one's still long enough to go around again. So, it's pointing to this corner. So we'll take this one. Make sure you've been pulling your strands tight. We're going to go under 4, or no, under 5, if you're counting that one, and over 3. Make sure everything's pulled tight. And what I want you to do is completely forget about that one. Leave it behind. Pull the one right below it, pull it tight, and we're still under 4 over 4 on this side, okay? So, then you go, it's pointing back to this corner. Take that one, pull it tight, go around the back. We're going under 4 over 3. Now, just forget that one was there now. We're not grabbing that one anymore. And it's pointing to this corner. Grab the one right below. We're going under 4 over 4 on this side. Points to that corner. Under 4 over 3 on this side. And it's red now for me. Under 4 over 4 on this side. So just keep that going until we get to our next drop strand. Alright, so you can see we're ready to drop this one now. It's a little longer, but we're going to have another drop pretty quick here coming up. And now, let's take our tape measure and see where we're at here. Get an idea for you guys. From the top of the handle, the first drop was about 15 inches, and the next one's about 1.5 inches past that, so. And now, once we drop that one and leave it behind, let's point to that corner. We're not going to take this one, we're going to take the one right below it. Around the back, under 4 over 3 on this side, and now it's pointing to this corner. And now, forget that one's there. Under 4, there's 4, and over 3 on this side. So they're even now. You guys got that? Under 4 over 3. Under 4 over 3. And just continue until we get to the next one. Alright, we made it to our next drop right here. You can kind of get the idea how it's zigzagging back and forth. It's going to be different for everybody on the position, but it should be within about 1/2 inch for you guys, because I didn't tell you how to set the strands up in the beginning, but it'll be in the ballpark anyways. So what's happening now is I'm not pulling tight, I'm just giving it a quick tug like that, and it's pointing to that corner. We're not taking that one, that one's getting dropped. We're taking the one right below it, and we're under 4 over 3 on this side. And now we're taking this one right here, and now we're under 3 over 3 on this side. Forget this one. Forget it even existed. So, still under 4 over 3 on this side, and just continue on. As you can see, I'm just giving them a quick tug. I'm not wrenching down on them now because we're off the handle. Just get them so they're set in place. I'll see you at the next drop strand on this side. So we hit our next drop strand, which now this will be the 4th one. And I'll give you guys a measurement, see where we're at right now. Because actually what we're looking for is 2.5. of plaited core for the second belly here. And this one's at 21 inches. So right around there. So you can see this one's a little farther down than these up here. Than these couple right here. So now it's going to be 6 on each side instead of 7 and 6. So don't grab that one, leave it behind. And under 3 over 3 still on this side, and here's the switch, under 3 over 3 on this side, and that one will fall behind. And now I'm not tugging as much, we're switching again. We're just barely pulling now. Okay? This 275 takes a while to plait, I know, but it's definitely going to benefit us in the end here. So keep going. And that was 21 inches, so we're almost to 2 feet. This is our 21 inch mark. So we don't have much more. When you get to this part, I don't know if you can see that. Let's do something like this. There we go. When you get to this part, because we're about to come off the artificial sinew where it's wrapped, what you do is you kind of just comb it down as you go over the top of it, and what you'll notice is it'll just plait over it real nice. So continue on until our next drop strand, which it actually might be before it might not drop before we get to 2.5 feet here, because from the top it might drop. We'll continue on. It's gonna be another purple one for me, so you got the next 2 short strands coming up on each side. So continue on until we get to that point. But now we're plaiting very softly. We're not plaiting hard. We're not pulling the strands hard. Just barely tug them. Make sure they're seated still, just not a tight pull, okay? As you can see, moving right along. That sounds great. Alright. So we've reached our next drop strand right here. And that last one was at 21. Right there. So we know this one's about 5 inches past, and we're still in under 3 over 3. And now we're going to switch. See, this one's pointing to that corner. So forget that one. Leave that one behind. Take the one right below it. Under 3 over 3 on this side. And then our initial switch will be right here with this one. Now we're under 3 over 2 on this side. And we're leaving that one behind now. Under 3 over 3 on this side. It could vary for you guys. I forgot to tell you. Sometimes they don't drop on the same side, so this could be over here on that side. It may not be exactly the same, but it should be about the same distance down the whip. So continue on until we have to drop this one. Alright guys, you need a break. As you can see, That was the last one we dropped. We're ready to drop this one. So forget about that one. It's pointing to this corner. Don't take that one. Take the one right below it. Now we're in 10 plat with 275 paracord. Under 3/2. It's pointing to that side now. Take the one right here on the top. We're going to go under 3/2 on this side now. So they're even. Under 3/2. And at the end of this, I'll measure these drop strands in the areas that they're in. The 3 15-footers are split evenly. Then every other one of them, every other strand that we cut, the 12, the 10, the 8-footer, the 6-footer, and the 5-footer were offset by about 3 to 4 inches. That's why these are offset. Under 3/2. And I'm barely pulling on these strands now. Under 3/2 on this side. So now, let's see where we're at. I think I'm about 2 inches away from 2.5 feet down the whip. So continue on until you get the 2.5 feet overall from the top of the handle to down to here. Okay? Alright, so we hit our 2.5 foot mark. The whip's kind of bent back a little bit. So it is 2.5 foot. That's 2.5 to the top of this. Not to there, to here. Now what we're going to do is take the hockey tape. This is a temporary taping. Get yourself a piece of that. And what I want you to do right now, before you even put it on there, fold the one side over like a 1/4 inch. Just like that. I'm going to go like this, right above it. And wrap that snug. And the reason I folded it is so you get a tab to actually take it off when we get to that point. So take your hemostats off, and now what we're going to do, just make those strands run down. Kind of just comb down. Get all of our tangles out. Perfect. Alright. So we got that. We're not ready to roll yet. But I'll get the measurements for these drop strands right now. Okay, like I said, the 3 15-footers were all split down the middle evenly at 7.5 foot, and then every other strand after that was offset by about 4 inches difference, which created our drop strands being in different spots. So measure from that side of the handle. We got one right around 15, one right around 16.5 to 17, one right around 18, one at 21, one at 26, and one at 28. So that's just a rough guesstimate of where we wanted to be. And there's our 6.5 or 2.5 foot mark, right where we wanted it. So what we're to do now is get all of these strands flared out like the tree branch, or like the tree roots we had before for the first belly. First, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our overall length of the whip of this belly at 5'3". So you can cut the last strands right now. These are 5'3". We're going to have some waste, not too much though. Okay. So we got that cut. And now we're going to tree branch it. Okay, so we got our strands laid out here. You can see the tape over here. That is our 30-inch mark right there. So we're going to take our first strand. We're going to cut it at 32 inches. Next one at 34. Let's get that out of the way. Next shortest one at 37. We're going to skip. And this one's going to be 39. There we go. I'm going to move over to this side of the camera. So we have 6 long ones left, and we're going to do the taper now. And this one's going to be 42. You can grab any of them. They're all the same length. This one's going to be 44. This one's going to be 47, so we're going up 3. This one's going to be 50. No, I'm sorry. This one's going to be 52 inches. And our last one to cut, because we're going to leave that long one that's at 5'3" inches. This one's going to be 56 inches from the top of the handle down to here. So you can see our taper coming along. Now you can take those back in. A nice gradual taper all the way down the whip. And now we'll give these strands one more tug. You don't need pliers, just do it by hand. So you got 6 that are drop strands up here. Give them one last tug. Not too much, just enough. Okay. And you're just going to snip those off, and we're going to melt them. Leave a little fluff. See? Snip it. Snip it. Snip it. Cut it. Cut it. Alright. Get your lighter. And melt those and press them into the whip. If you do it fast enough, it doesn't burn you. So if you melt it, I just wipe it in like that. Got one right here. Good. One right here. One right there. Get that one again. We don't want it to be bulging out. There we go. We got 2 left. Well, that's a great lighter. Well, I'll grab another one. Okay, I got another lighter. I still got 2 left. Last one. And that's it. We are ready to roll this whip out. So these are going to get all tangled up. As long as this is snug enough, as long as your tape is snug enough, that should be fine. But we're going to roll this out right here, right now. Get your cutting board, 2x6, 2x4, anything. A book works. We're just seating all the paracord into place, getting it nice and cylindrical so it's perfectly round. Am I giving it a lot of pressure? A little bit. It's kind of hard to roll on this counter due to it's very slippery, and you should have like a rubber mat or something. You can see everything's starting to close up real nice. Some of these spots aren't going to, but it'll still work. Okay. Now you can see what kind of action we're going to have here. Very smooth. Roll that a little bit more, and we'll go to the next step. You guys are whip makers now. Alright, we're back at the vise. After rolling it, you can really see it's starting to take a nice form. And you can finally see that taper that I was talking about from the top of the handle, and it gets skinnier and skinnier as it goes down, which is exactly what we're looking for with this Target whip. Everything looks good. Alright, now what we're going to do, put this over the top of that. I kind of wish I hadn't put that board in the back now, but maybe I could do this. Doesn't have to be straight for this part. And don't purposely try to bend that end right here. We don't want to bend that. Alright, so we're back in the vise. Okay, right here. Let's get our artificial sinew. And we're going to wrap that. We know where the rod is. It's right. Because stuff is going to start to get squished, so it's going to start disappearing again. But it ain't too far from the end. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap it for about 1 inch. And then back up to the top. And these are close wraps, and they're tight. Okay? Okay, that's about an inch. I'm gonna go back to the top. Keep pulling tight. This is basically for foundation. So when the brad nails finally go in at the end for the not foundation, they're going to be really stuck in this stuff. This artificial sinew here. Alright, get your razor blade. Do this. Nice that if it's waxed, it sticks to itself, so. Get that one. And then just right back onto itself. Perfect. And don't forget to throw your scraps out. If you have any animals, cats mainly, make sure you throw your scraps out because of the they like to eat the paracord and the cores. So as long as you watch them and they don't eat it that way, but we've had problems in the past with our cats eating the cores, and it was my fault for leaving them out. So always throw your scraps away or bag them. Anyways, we are going to bind the belly next. Make sure you're on the top. You can see where that one was dropped right there, where it's melted. So take this here. Usually I take a piece of rubber or leather and do this. That way you're not squishing the whip with the hard metal of the vise. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to measure the handle again. Let me grab the tape measure. Get your marker or pen out. So we're looking for that 14 mark because we know that 14 is our core. And I think it's right there. So mark it. Get your pen. And we're just going to go across right there. So we know that's the end of the handle. And I'm going to zoom in for you guys. We're going to start binding this belly. And we're going to roll it again after we get done with everything we have to do to this belly. Alright, so we're ready to bind. Get your artificial sinew back out. We're going to start. Now let's do about 1 inch above it, okay? Above our mark. We're going to crisscross that so it ties itself off. Do two wraps to tie it down, and then we're going to do the crisscross pattern. And don't be afraid on our first one here. This is going to be super tight. I just tucked that one away. We don't need that one anymore. So try to keep your mark exposed. If it gets covered, mark it again. The pen seems to work better on the artificial sinew if you have to mark it. You kind of see what I'm doing here. About 1/4 inch spacing. Just kind of zigzagging. And this one's going to go out to about, let's see here, and this is tight. This is not loose. Okay, let's take a look at that from our mark. 2.5 inches out. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to go back up. And we're just going to do a single pass going back up. Split. The difference, just go right in between. No crisscrossing going back up, just straight up. It's a lot of work making these videos, guys. Making sure I get everything in and make sure I tell you everything that you need to know. Okay, so we're back to the top. Now we're going to go back down. About 1/2 inch spacing, single pass. You can see our transition's rock solid right there. I think once these whips break in, this sinew breaks down a little bit, and it becomes looser at the transition. So now we are going to go about 4 inches down. Let's see. Let's get that mark. So we already did 2.5. With a super tight wrap. Now we're going to go medium. So from the 2.5 mark, about 4 inches right there. Just give it a mark. See that? And now we're going to switch back. We're going to do the crisscross again, but now I'm not pulling this tight. I'm pulling, but I'm not pulling tight. Very important that you do it this way, because this is what gives the whip kind of a spring load. About 1/4 inch spacing again. Just copy what I'm doing. Just like that. Just like that. Almost to the 4 inch mark. Okay, we've hit it. Now we're going to go back up. Single pass. Just barely pulling. Just kind of snug down. Okay, now we're back to the 2.5 inch mark. Now it's time to bear down again. And we're back to a single, we're already doing that, but I'm pulling tight. Now, instead of going all the way to the top, we're not going to do that. We're going to stop about 1/2 inch away from where we started, and we're going to go back down. Same thing, spacing, 1/2 inch, pulling tight. What is that creaking right here? Alright, now we're down to the 2.5 mark right now. Go loose again. Sometimes you gotta fix your sinew, because I pull it too tight that it just squishes it right off the freaking cardboard tube. So just a little tug. Little tug. Alright, now we're down to the 4-inch area. So now we're going to go 6 inches out. So take your, let me back you up a little bit. Take your marker again. We know that was the 4-inch mark. And now we're going to go 6 inches down, which is right there. From the 4-inch mark. Now it's not even to be that tight. It's just going to be the marker cap. Damn it. Oh, there it is. Hang on. I'm hurrying. I'm trying. Okay, so we've reached this part. And now we're going to switch. We're just going to do a single pass. And this is just basically barely going on there. Just going around. We're just wrapping around it. We're not pulling super tight at all. Half-inch spacing. Okay, so we hit our 6-inch mark. Go back up. This is our final pass. Half-inch spacing going back up. Okay, 4-inch mark. Remember, now we have to tug a little bit. Give it a little tug. Okay. And a 2.5-inch mark. Now we're just bear down again. See, when I pull on it, it cuts right into that artificial sinew. Then you know you're pulling it really, really tight. Okay, we're almost to the top. Go above it just a little bit. Pull tight. Get your scissors or knife. Cut it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Go underneath. See how it's looped? Pull it. Then pull that super tight. Let that lay down flat. Alright, so there's that. Now, what I want you guys to do is roll that out again. I already showed you how to roll a whip, so I'll see you back at the vise. Okay, so we've rolled it out real good. You can see how our whip is taking shape. And now, kind of see where that swell is. Get your tape measure out. Measure 14. Mark it again. Make sure you're at the back end of the rod so we get an exact measurement. This time I'm going to use a pen because we're on sinew here. And that way you can see it a little better. Alright. So what we're going to do, get our catfish material, and we're going to sleeve it again. So what we had underneath was like a 15-inch piece and a 6-inch piece. So now we're going to make an 8-inch piece from the back, and we're going to meet this one right here. So get your catfish material, catfish slinky. Let's zoom out here so I can kind of show you what's going on. Gotta show you guys. So what we're going to do, as you can see, that stuff just goes right on. But it doesn't like to go over itself very easy. But I'll show you the trick for that. The reason we have to do it like this, because I don't know the exact measurement with it expanded like that, so we're just leaving it on there. And I see that swell right here. Okay? Just keep working it on. Alright, there we go. That's what we're looking for it to stop. Try not to waste much because this stuff ain't cheap. Get your scissors and try to cut it right off, right at the back end. Just like that. So you can see I basically went all the way up to the artificial sinew, and it's all the way to the back end for this one. Now, get your tape. And we're going to go around the top to hold that one in place. Let's get a knife. Okay, lay that flat. Make sure that's still where we want it. And it's very close, so that's good. And now, we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go about halfway. It might be 8 to 7 inches, somewhere on there. But we'd still have to go like this. Because like I said, I don't know the exact measurement. So get that catfish slinky material on there. And you know where the end is. And we're looking at somewhere right around there. Right in that area. Let's get a measure. It's about 6.5. And that one was about 13, the first one. But like I said, it's expanded at that point, so I don't know the length of it without expanding it. Unless you took it off. So that's about right where we want it. And let's see, that was 6.5. 6.5, 7 inch, 6.5 to 7 inches. Okay. So get your scissors again. Try not to waste it. And then we're going to do the same thing again. We'll tape it. One wrap's good. Alright, now you kind of get what we're going for here. You can see how it's just staged all the way down. Levels all the way down the whip. So we're done with the catfish stuff. Which I'm sure if you guys get. Otherwise, you'd have to wrap that with the hockey tape. Probably at this point I would do it like 2 times. So go down and have it at least like 2 thicknesses of the hockey tape if you don't have the catfish material, and then go down to the 7-inch mark, wrapping it 2 times. That way you achieve what we're going for here. But this stuff would probably work really good down the body of the whip for flexing and giving it kind of a spring load, which I haven't actually done much yet to achieve that. But just experiment with the stuff. You guys will like it. So now I usually wrap that with artificial sinew, but I think we're just going to call it good. We're going to wrap this end, obviously. We'll wrap up here and call it good. So I'll put the one end back in the vise. Stay confident, you can build this. Okay, so this is the back end of the whip. Back in the vise. We're going to wrap this. Start about halfway on that hockey tape because we're going to lose an inch of this whip. So we're going to go up about an inch from where we're at. Pulling it real tight. You see it's kind of springing because it's actually pinched right there. So now we're going to go back up. I did about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. But it doesn't matter because it's the main foundation for our knot. So, and we don't want this sliding around. Okay, so cut that. Loop it over. And just trim it. Tuck that in. And there's no point in rolling it now for this catfish material, so we're just going to go right to the overlay now. Stay confident, you can build this. So we completed our second belly. I'm about to call it a night, and that's the last of our catfish material. We've got it all bound up, everything's rolled out. Our taper looks good down the whip. And I just wanted to say, it's always good to take a break every hour from the whip, at least 5 or 10 minutes. Do something else, do some exercising. That's what I usually do. But the other thing is, I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. I'm trying as hard as I can to show you as much as I can. So I just hope it turns out well this time. See, our ultimate goal is this right here. And I'll probably be starting the overlay tomorrow night. Today's the 25th, but that really doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a really fun whip to crack, and even for beginners, you guys are gonna love it. And obviously the tutorial. So, but I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Pretty late. It's about 11 o'clock here in Arizona. What? Like 50 degrees outside right now. We're in what is it? March 25th today. So, anyways, let's start the overlay. Stay confident, you can build this.